handbrake drum. These aren't difficult, these things. I think what I'm going to try and do here, I'm nervous of it because there's a fair chance that some of this dust in here is going to be asbestos, which I don't want to be part of. So I think what I'm going to do is going to get a spray down with some brake cleaner. I've got some brake cleaner somewhere. Just give me 1 minute. If I have to put new shoes on it, I have to put new shoes on it. Rather put new shoes on it than suffer ill effects. Brake cleaner. Brake and parts cleaner. Seems a bit brutal, but folks, you don't want to be fucking around with this shit. You really don't. And because asbestos was in these fixings until I think it was banned 1980 something or other, I'd rather take no risks. Okay, right, with that done there, let me get these two chappies off here. And there's one. Shoe retainer. And other shoe retainer. Oh, excuse me. It's a nice solventy smell. Right, okay, that's done that. And then I should, in theory, be able to extract the shoes. Oh, they're attached to the drum there. Right, just extract the big spring that goes across and connects the two halves together. That's cut. And now I should be able to separate these shoes, and there they go. So that lot can sit over here. Then I've got more shite here, which I'm nervous of. Just going to take the adjuster out. It's actually part of the back plate there. I'm just going to leave the adjuster in, and then I'm going to get some more of this shit in here. Oh, if someone's been there already and done this, then fantastic. But I can't guarantee it. Can you? Right, that should do it. That'll be enough. Oh, look, it's clean now. Right, okay. So now, 4 bolts hold that back plate on. I can take the whole back plate off. I think I'm going to need to undo that nut there as well. That's the kind of like adjuster thingy that sits at the back there. I can't remember how that goes on now. Whether it actually goes through the back plate or not. I think we're going to have to take it off. Spanners. Ha! 11/16 or thereabouts. I don't actually know what this bit fucking does. It is kind of stuck in there though. What amuses me about all this gearbox looks very, very kind of, you know, shiny. But when you start digging into it, it's almost like someone's pressure washed it and then painted it. which seems odd, doesn't it? Should be thoroughly cleaned up this. Right, so I need to get that off there. That needs to come off. Let's just position that over here. So that's that off. Clean that now. I want to get this bastard off. I don't know what is holding it. I need to find some way of supporting this, so it might just end up being in the vise. Let's move phone out of the way. Should we have a look? I'm rather hoping that this bolt here just holds the kind of pivot point in place, but it needs to come out before the rest can come off. I don't know. We'll find out in a second. Well, a short bolt and washer. Oh yes, you can see it goes through there. Look at that. Now let's go back over here. Go there. Next, we're going to undo these 4 bolts on the top here. Right, let's get this brake back plate off now. Come off and be intact. Probably didn't actually need to take the shoes off in order to do this. That's alright, I can build it back up again intact. I'm just lobbing everything for the brake shoes in a tray over here. Now, I'm rather hoping now that when this comes off, I'll be able to bang the shaft out, because I'll be able to see the drive for the speedo, which is one of the things that can be holding it in place still. I don't actually know how that fits in there. We'll find out in a second. It's been a while since I've done one of these. It comes off. Just a mallet. There it goes. Now, and almost does. Basically this holding it in, almost out. Cuss the fuck out of it. It's almost there. It's almost right. It's out. Right, back plate. It's going to get further cleaning. And then we've got the speedo drive housing. Oh my goodness. On the back here, I'd expect it to be mainly mud, but still not taking any risks. Mud and silicon. What we've basically got here is, I can see the shaft and I can see the speedo drive in there, see? So I'm rather hoping the speedo drive is going to be just held in there. Fucking cleaner is all over the place. Everything is covered. Fucking gibbon. Yes, that comes out. It's probably held in with a no ring. Right, that's coming out. I'm wondering, just gently, seeing if I can lever the entire mechanism out. Yes, that's exactly right. So I was bang on there. This comes out. The nut and washer's holding it in place. Take the nut and washer off. And then the speedo drive comes out intact. Look at that. Nice, huh? Right, that can go there. That can go there. Now I should be able to bang this shaft out now. No, I'm going to carry on with that. We're not bottomed out yet. He's going. Fucking just broke my hammer. There we go. Drive shaft out. You can see what I mean about those steps on there now. Look at that. That's horrendous. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or not. The rest of this though looks fine. I'll give it a clean and it can all go back together again. That I can sit over here. Now, what I'm going to need to do next is go and get the other one off my spares gearbox. I reckon that's not right. Of course it's not fucking right. Right, where are we? And it's all going back together again. So I fitted the brand spanking new shaft, output shaft, because the old one, if you remember, has disappeared. Looks like this, and it had fucking great notches taken out of it. So new one of those in, change the high ratio diff gear, and all of a sudden I've got no. If there's half a centimetre of backlash, bearing in mind that the ring has got quite large teeth in the middle of it, if there's half a centimetre in there, then that is, you know, kind of astonishing. That's fixed now. And also, if I then put you there so you can look, can you see? I don't know. If I get hold of the input and output shafts, the tiniest bit of backlash. You need a certain amount of backlash in these things. They can't run absolutely solid. Disengage the diff lock. Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The grinding noise, by the way, then was the bolts. Fabulous. Right, so I am going to pop prop shafts on, diff lock case on. I've painted the back plate. For the, there's a bolt down there, painted the back plate for the brake drum, so I've not assembled that yet. I bought new shoes because I just wasn't prepared to risk contamination from the ones that I took off, bearing in mind that I've got no idea where they came from. I mean, they're all cleaned now, but they are Lockheed. They might have been non-asbestos, they might not have been non-asbestos, because I'm doing a complete overhaul of the back end of this thing. There didn't seem an awful lot of point in messing around. And if you remember, this entire exercise now was because I was trying to fit the prop shaft. So I'm going to get on and do that as well. Okay, next thing I really want to do is to get this top cover back on the gearbox. There is nothing particularly demanding about it, other than the springs that sit underneath, or the kind of the selector rod springs. And there are three of them. Get these bolts out so they don't fall anywhere. And the three springs sit in these three holes here. And when you position them in the holes, they sit a little bit on the proud side. Allow me to demonstrate. There they are. So when you kind of like lining things up, they sit like that. Okay? So when you're putting the top cover on, you need to be aware of that. So you knock these fuckers in, they ain't going to do anything at all. Now, what I'm going to need to do up here first and foremost is get this old gasket off. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's almost beautiful, that. That is almost beautiful. Saved me half an hour scraping it, didn't it? Right, let's get this bastard on. So gaskets in place, 3 springs, with 1 spring, 2 springs. The balls are in there by the way already. And 3 springs. If you drop them, you need a magnet on a bit of stick. And then we've got the gearbox cover. And what we're really going to do on some cars, on the earlier gearboxes, they had like 3 little indents on it, which helped you locate the springs onto the tinsy holes. But what I need to do here is do it manually. 1, 2. Are they all in there? They're all in there. That's good then. And then, now they're not going to fall out now because they're located within the cover itself. So now it's just a case of securing the bolts. Fitted the selector bracket onto the back end of the gearbox. Uses the top 2 bolt holes for the overdrive. So I'll put slightly longer bolts in. Now be aware, bolts on these LT95s, these ones certainly on the outside here, they're metric. So these are M8, standard M8 bolts. So I fitted those in there. I've got a problem with the cross shaft, but I'll come back to that in a second. The other thing I've done, let's move that out of the way. In fact, let's move that right out of the front. I've been and checked each of the gears selects, and they do beautifully, and reverse goes in nicely. Gear stick's bent, but you know, I'm sure the customer will be able to sort that out themselves. Next thing I really wanted to do, oh by the way, top up your overdrive. It doesn't top up when you top up the transfer box, and I've not topped up the transfer box yet. That's another thing I need to do, but you need to top up the overdrive. Plug is down here. It is probably about 20mm or something like that plug. I use a spark plug socket. Seems to get it off okay. Make sure the drain plug is done up first of all. It takes, on these gearboxes, because this takes 2050 engine oil, that takes 2050 engine oil. Guess what? 2050 engine oil. There's not a lot of information out there. However, the reason I put 2050 engine oil there, we look at clank, 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 clank. My spare overdrive, not my spares overdrive, you'll see that when it's mounted correctly, we've got these 2 catch channels here. Now these are designed such that when oil gets flicked around inside the transfer box, it channels back down and into these holes. So it actually does top up the transfer box, but you need to give it a fighting chance. It takes just about a litre. Again, there's not much information around that, but what I did is I topped it up until it started dripping out of the fill hole. Then I put the fill plug back in. Okay, overdrive. Oh yes. Now, next thing I'm going to faff around with is this bloody selector shaft. So if I position you somehow up right, so selector shaft. Selector lever, this is for high and low range. Now, if you remember correctly, if you've been paying attention, you will recall that this thing is prone to slipping out of its slot. So we're selecting the 2 gears, but the shaft's got that much movement on it. Okay, so it can slip right out. Now, it's unlikely to slip right out because we're going to have the gearbox cover over the top of it. Okay, the gearbox cover will be over the top here. However, it might make sense if we were to make sure that that weren't to happen. Basically, the other thing I want to make sure of is that when the cover is fitted, which is just here, when the cover is fitted, that you can still select both gears. You can see that that is clouting the cover, so we need to adjust that as well. So we're going to neutral there. Now also in here there will be a there's a baffle plate there to stop some of the oil mist from slinging around, but there should be a detemp ball and spring in here as well, so I need to find that. I think it goes in there. Right, so on this end of the shaft, which comes out over here, and there was a bush in there, there's a nice big hole there for a split pin, which is kind of what I'm going to propose I fit in there. So I need to adjust the shaft such that it will fit past the plates, and then the next thing I need to do is to adjust the rod on the shaft to make sure that it will, it kind of needs to go about there. Now the shaft itself, I thought the shaft had adjustment on this end as well. It does. Looks like it's got a grommet in there. It's a roll pin by the looks of things. It is a roll pin. The reason the hole's on this end, by the way, is for left-hand drive conversion. You'll want the shaft on the other end. So I think what I might do here, because this roll pin is as sloppy as a dick in a bucket, so it might rattle in operation. I hold the shaft, yeah, that's not ideal, is it? Let's knock that roll pin through. I've got some detritus in here I need to clean out as well. It might get just bits of gasket by the looks of things. Yes, gasket. But other than that, oh, there's the detent there. That's the detent there. You can see it actually going up and down. There. So that's the bit that underneath there, there'll be a nice big spring. See? A spring at the bottom there for the R. And that's what gives it the nice rifle bolt clonk. I knew there was one there somewhere. Right. Let's get this roll pin out and have a look at this handle first of all. Right, so roll pin. What I might need to do is to just undo the 2 bolts here which hold the handbrake mechanism, 3 bolts, sorry, that hold the handbrake mechanism up here. I'll do that in a second. That one. That looks good enough. Like that. It could just be that the roll pin is a bit on the tight side because I managed to move it that much. I think I is stuck. I have got some more roll pins. They probably find it's the same as a bloody door roll pin anyway. You're out. Smaller one, Richard. That'll do. Does it go through the hole on the other end? It does. That roll pin's out. And I should be able to get this lever off next. Right, there's the lever off. Is it going to come off with the handbrake in place? Bastard. It will. Oh, come on. No, it probably won't actually. Let's undo this fucking bracket. Every little job. Every little job. Handbrake's out of the way. There's the roll pin. There's the lever. Right, let's go and get this lot over to the bench. What I might also do here is undo the fork off the cross shaft. Comes the bolt will need to come right out. Come on, we're out. Right, here comes the cross. Here comes the pin and the cross shaft. Right, there's the pin. There's the cross shaft. out. Right, cross shaft's out. Cross shaft looks all right. So why have I got all of that wobble on the... It's not beautiful. It's a lot better on that end though. So I'm going to see if I can turn the cross shaft round, because that would just resolve all of my problems really, wouldn't it? So obviously we've got all of the load and the wear. There's a massive great lip here on the cross shaft where the handle's been wobbling around. Now I've not checked the O-rings in here. Have I got any O-rings? I don't think I've got any O-rings. I don't think I've got any. I could probably put one in there, but basically there's no ring there and there's no ring on the end there. Which I'd need to work out whether they need changing. Now, bearing in mind all the other shit that's going on in this gearbox, I might be inclined just to whiz off the end plate here with a broken screwdriver. I could do the one on this end and you'd be able to see it then, wouldn't you? Let's move the roll pin out of the way, because the roll pin's good. Undo this nut here, and then this whole handbrake assembly can come out of the way. Our handbrake is out of the way-ish, that'll do. Right. Got right. Let's try a hearty good tap. There we go. Beautiful. Just fucking beautiful. Just fucking beautiful. Right, let's take these two off. That's the fixing. Can you even see what I'm doing? Yes, you can. I think I'm working down here. Yes. And the other one comes off. There'll be a gasket under here as well, I'm sure of it. Right, two of those. And then that plate comes off. Covered in cow shit and God knows what else. There's the O-ring. Is there an O-ring in there? Right, the seals are in there. Arf, 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 arf. They're quite hard. Is all I'm going to say. Shaft does go in the wrong way round, so that's the way it's going to happen. Here's a plane up. When shaft goes on other end, then lever has significantly less play, and I think once the roll pin's gone through, that'll be okay. So the next thing I'm doing now is looking at these bushes. You come over this way. Right, let's go to Google, and I'm just going to Google FRC 6468. Comes back. O-ring, transfer shaft, LT95. John Richard surplus, O-ring. 25p plus VAT. Good lord. I probably need to get some in, don't I? It does look like just a really fat O-ring there. This chap that's come off is square in profile, so I'm suspecting that what happens is they've replaced them with something that's not flat in profile. Now there's two ways I can handle this. I can either shave this down a little bit and put an O-ring over the top of it, like that, or I can put two O-rings in, like that. And I must admit, for the sake of the effort, I'm inclined to put two O-rings in. So that's more or less exactly what is going to happen. So you can come on this side, listen to me sniff, because my ears have popped, which is nice. Right, here we've got 2 O-rings go in there. They do sit in, that's good. Right, in fact, I've got a feeling 1 O-ring's probably going to do the job. Where's the shaft gone? There's the shaft. Which way round we going? Because one end had a massive groove in it. This end. That's where the selector was fitted, was it? I've cleaned the shaft off now, I can't notice it. Right, it's there. Right, so that's the end I'm going to be using. So let's pop that in there. What I might do is put another push O-ring on before I put the cover over the outside. What I'm going to do next though is put the selector shaft in, take one of these O-rings round the other side. Vaseline. Right, so we want selector fork, which I've left over there, very sensible. Selector fork. 1 selector fork, which can go onto the shaft. Very tight on the shaft. What I might have to do here is creative use of a Mr. Tappy there. Put the grommet on the other end, which it more or less is. It's tight, it is a snug fit in there. I think that's going to be alright actually. And then we'll put the plate back over the outside, there is no gasket, and then put these 2 screws back in. Then I'll put the lever on. Then we can start chuffing around with what we're actually going to do with the rest of the transfer lever. That goes on there. Impact screwdriver. Just ready just to do them up more than anything else. That's there, that come off, right, and then Mr. Lever, oh God's teeth, goes on, Mr. Shaft goes through, there we are, all lined up. Now, Mr. Rollpin. Next is Mr. Rollpin worn out. Mr. Rollpin is not looking at in his first flush of youth. Look, very much like the seat roll pins. Basically, there's a big ridge on one end of it. Let me see what I can do for roll pins. I've not got any other roll pins the same size. I've cleaned this up and basically by putting the crosshead screwdriver in the end of it and banging it banging the roll pin, not the crosshead screwdriver, I'm able to open the roll pin back up to its original size. So let's see if that works. It might work, it might not. What have I lost? Nothing. Oh! That's better. I'd say that's just about fucking perfect. Right, now we'll put the bolt back in here again. Put bolty back in there. Next, what I want to do is line this up. So there should be a spacer in here, but again, I think that's something to do with later gearboxes. So it needs to be, I can put the handbrake back on again now. So let's put handbrake lever back on bolts. I've got lock washers to go underneath nuts. Missing one. Why am I missing one? I thought I had them all. Apparently not. Still got to check out the reverse light and the diff lock lights. That one. Right, now. That's about right. Push that into the depths of, and we want to do up the pinch bolt. I'm going to be spanner handy, otherwise I'll be using the spanner. It's over there on the bench, can't be asked to go over there. It is only a pinch bolt, folks, it's not a going fucking berserk bolt. And it's not going to come out anymore. It's impossible for it to come out because I can't pull the lever over far enough for it to come out. I still put a split pin and a washer on that end, and I still need to adjust this. Really, I'm going to need the gearbox cover in place in order to confirm that this is going to be in the right place. Let me just compare it against one of the others. So I've got that, like that. Right, 3 other gearboxes more or less stop around where this is stopped at the moment. So if I now find the cover, which very conveniently is on the other side of the car, position the cover back in place. It's not touching the cover anymore. And we've got high, low, neutral in the middle. I can feel it there. That's neutral. I think that's exactly where it needs to be. Right, now, what I'll do next, I want to whiz that up, spanner. So we'll do this up. I don't want it slipping. It has got a lock washer underneath it. It's nice rifle bolt action. Right, now let's look at this end. So, what have we got now? 10% battery remaining. You probably don't really need to watch me putting this end plate on. I shall let the camera run until it runs 8. There goes the O-ring in. Now the housing on this side is a bit deeper than it was on the other side, so I've got 2 O-rings on this end. Just really so it gets clamped in there. And then put this on and 2 screws which have disappeared. There they are. Is that going to go in? Yes, it is. So all that really leaves me to do then, I shall drop a split pin through there, big one, because then it's not going to go as far as disengaging, which it doesn't disengage at the moment when it goes as far as it needs to, so it's not likely to moving forwards. There we go. That's in. That's in. And now, so the shaft moves like that much. Nice rifle bolt action. I'd say that's fucking nice, that. I'm going to take this out and put some thread lock on it then. That's the only thing I'm going to do there. That is fucking nice. Beautiful. Gasket on.